Aloha. I wanted to share something real quick that that's pretty much everywhere. It's from when we were kids all the way up until we're grown and now into our next generations of children, consciousness and self, like this whole earth plane experience. I wanted to share how we get like just a quick proof of how we get caught up in the past, the artificial, the orchestrated past, and sold the future and kind of the styles of how it was. Just like for me, I grew up just a regular public education system, and my last video game experience was Donkey Kong Country and Final Fight and Killer Instinct and Batman Returns, and those were the only like 4 games that I had for Super Nintendo because them damn games were expensive, and and you can only get those like every Christmas if you're lucky. So that's what happened. Like it was, I got I got the Super Nintendo and then Final Fight and Batman Returns, and then it took like forever to get 2 more games. But that was the extent of my video game experience, and I wanted to share and go into how the video game experience has gone way beyond that into a world of way deeper programming and subconscious coding of today, to where even they name these video games like mature, and that already has like, that's another layer that wasn't available to the kids who started out on like regular Nintendo, which is the majority of my video game experience. There weren't any mature videos, and it was hard enough to try to get the damn game to play, blowing that cartridge forever and then hitting the machine and sticking another game in there to hold it down. And you had to, it was more of a video game to get the damn thing to work, let alone go and save the Andromeda galaxy and all some kinds of, like today it's gone so far, and the style of it is pretty trippy. And I woke up this morning, I was going to talk about dream stealing and how pretty much the biggest lie, or the worst thing you can do is steal somebody's dreams. And the American dream is inherently a dream stealer when they get you thinking that it's all about being a firefighter, an astronaut, or whatever. And the fact that nobody dreams anymore, and if we can't even understand our relationship to the earth plane, to our culture, to our family, which is what these video games and what these video games and movies and pop culture and politics in itself, it's all a separation program. And I wanted to play some of these intros to these video games, because this was the first thing that I saw this morning on YouTube's homepage was The Birth of a Nation. It's a new movie. It's another movie about slavery, and they can see how they're programming. You can see how it's programming and also priming for like fighting. So just even in the regular Nintendo time frames in the 80s and into the 90s, the video games were all about fighting, and you can see the amplification of fighting the system, fighting some kind of reptilian villain, which is another theme that gets played. and going into now into the galaxy. So the video games of today are just an extension of NASA. They're just another way for you to shut your mind off to what the real world is all about in the physical reality on its basic scale. They try to make it seem boring because all you have to do is, go to work. So you're actually living inside a video game, just like some people live inside of the pop culture world. They live inside the television. They live inside of these other worlds. When they wake up, your time is consumed. You're giving your time away, which is divine time. Like, you wake up for a reason. Like, you have a fucking reason why you wake up in the morning. There is a reason why you dream at night. There's a reason for this. There's a reason why you have lucid dreams. There's a reason for all this stuff that has nothing to do with a politician. It has nothing to do with the education system, which has nothing to do with NASA and nothing to do with the university system. Nothing to do with that. And all of those systems are in line for you to not make a connection with those reasons. If you do not make those connections and make those understandings and activate those energies and understand over time what those frequencies are about, you will lose those connections, both with yourself, with your ancestors, with your soul journey, with your purpose, with everything. So that is the main design, is to get you caught up in this destructive, fight the power, fight the system reality, which is another part of even the conscious movement, the so-called conscious movement. Because there's a whole bunch of different layers of conscious movement. There's the conscious community, just like there's layers of the flat earth community and all that stuff. And then, but the biggest ones that are standing out to me are like this fake conscious movement, where people are trying to get money out of people, just for straight up, like, oh man, it's so deep into that field, is like trying to hold on to the old world and also bring in this new space. And this is what the old system is about. It's about trying to evolve the system instead of being revealed for what it is. So individuals do that. They do that on a singular scale. They want to bring in a new system without addressing the old, addressing the ego, addressing the work that needs to be done on every individual layer. So the whole team oneness and unified field of consciousness and the soul masterclass journey is about just shifting from third gear into fourth gear, and then just riding it out into fourth gear, when we are potentially and expressing like the fifth gear, fifth dimension, space, energies, all this stuff. And this is what I wanted to play. This is this is how they sell this stuff to us, is through video games and amusement parks. And the amusement parks, I remember going to was it Universal Studios? I think it was Universal Studios, where they had the Moonwalker, and the Moonwalker was a 3D Michael Jackson like movie experience, from his Moonwalker movie experience. And they had this whole thing that was just like, whoa, this is cool. And even he was talking about space and all this other stuff. And yeah, it's a whole thing. But now today's version of that is this whole 4D experience, where they have 3D, and then they have water and clouds floating in your face, and like all kinds of stuff. But this new thing that popped up on my Instagram today was this quick 16-second clip of I'll play this before I play this, of New Earth, Mass Effect New Earth commercial, which is this 4D experience at Great America.
Welcome aboard Mass Effect New Earth.
So this is how.
Where anyone can be an explorer. Please prepare for an
So anybody can be an explorer. So this is a 16-second program, a 16-second installation program, to where you already get so much. You're already in fourth gear of what the fuckville, and you're just looking at these artificial creations, this whole CGI movie effect that you directly link to, you know, what our future is about, or what NASA's about, or what's out there, SpaceX, and your video game heads really believe all this stuff, and then they just kind of like just let it be, and take their kids to Great America. So this is for the video gamers now. Like the Great America, when I was there, they just had like Top Gun. So they had you thinking you're a fighter pilot in the Army or in the Air Force. You're Tom Cruise, and you're the best time that you ever had when you went to Great America and got on Top Gun, the best roller coaster ride there, and then you end up graduating from high school and going into the damn Army, which is what I did. Some bullshit. So these programs are everywhere, and this new style of program is this video game experience that is put in place for you to mostly be dormant, but also give your dreams away, give your time away, give your energy away, and create a space for you to give this to your kids, because now they're gonna have all these. And this is really what it's all about. It's really about a sense of accomplishment. So when you wake up in the morning, if you don't do anything, you feel like shit. If you don't do anything, then you feel like you've wasted your time or whatever it is. Like there's a feeling of purpose that we have just for waking up in the morning, and that purpose gets filled with artificial dreams like the American dream and that whole setup. And then beyond that, we get to do what we like to do. And what we like to do is even fed to us through other versions of the American dream. And these video games are just like tablets and all that other stuff. They're time consumers. So if we don't use them for a secondary at best, a secondary purpose, then if we install this stuff as our first world purpose, then we become that experience. Like there's people who are their video games. It's only about video games. People that are only about movies or television. It's a trip. But I just wanted to share this
4D holographic journey across the galaxy.
4D holographic experience journey across the galaxy. Departing so that quick. So you have kids scrolling through Instagram, grown up kids scrolling through Instagram, see this commercial, and they're like, oh, I could take my kids there. That's like even your connections with your kids. And so I'm speaking for like a millennial time frame. They take their kids to Great America. Now you can make a connection with your kids on another deeper layer. Now the kids are gonna grow up thinking like, oh, I remember that time I went to Great America and we went to that video game 4D experience. They're thinking about the connection with the family first, and then they not even considering like how uber fake that shit is to get you just so dumbed down and programmed into that system of creating your reality. But just like in previous video, I was talking about how living in the city will have you dreaming about being in the city. If you live in nature, then you will have dreams with nature. You will have dreams with animal spirits, tree spirits, wind spirits, like the whole natural organic connection. Not saying that it has to be that extreme, one or the other. Just saying that there's a very different reality that gets affected by, or there's these layers of reality that get affected by our waking state. And when we have so much bombardment of emptiness in our waking state, then it makes our dreams even emptier. And when we bombard it with our dreams and our experience and our creative energies, both in the dream space and on the waking space. So when we bombard our energy and our time with limitation and fighting the system programs and this whole thing, then we're not doing ourselves any kind of justice. We're actually doing harm. And when you see that this stuff is designed to do a certain thing, to make you feel and act in a certain way, then it's really jacked up, and you'll start to question your reality even more and how far it goes. But I wanted to share this as a movie, a new movie, of course, by Fox. Cotton Fields. There it is. Like, you can see this algorithm. Amen. It's this whole. Look at this. This is the emotional body triggers. Thinking about your history, thinking about your present, triggering what you, who you are, who you think you are, who the power people are, who.
I pray you sing a new song. Sing praise.
Meanwhile, the deeper layer, like the deeper layer of a NASA program with video games, the deeper layer of this program is that people think that this is only their history and forget about ancient Egypt, forget about the Washita Moors, forget about the earlier power that is rooted within our blood, and get caught up in that sub layer of fight this layer, understand this layer of experience, and that's it, and that's it. Don't go any further than that. So it really affects you, like your emotions, your energy, your whole space. So like I woke up in the morning thinking I was gonna do a video about dreams and that whole thing, and then I went to check out what was on Instagram, then run into this Mass Effect commercial, and then this Birth of a Nation, and this is all new stuff. These are the new programs that are out there, and I can tell you, like, this is Mass Effect. So EA Sports was with like PlayStation making Madden and all that group of threads. So you see how they program this. This is Mass Effect that makes that video games, and that new Great America thing. So people are just getting caught up in the video games. They don't think any further than what all this program is for NASA. You just lock this CGI in as your reality, and that's it.
We will say goodbye.
This is why we don't dream.
Back one last time. And know that wherever you go, we will be with you.
There it
This
is.
is Commander Shepard, signing off.
So this is both NASA program and alien agenda stuff. It literally is a Mass Effect. So these video games are a lot more than what they're appearing to be. Excuse me. It's another layer of programming. So we can get caught up in like the United Nations and the mainstream media, the conscious community or the fake conscious community, people trying to hustle consciousness. You can get caught up in Black Lives Matter and the political fighting. I'm getting caught up in all these layers, but until we start to weave them all together and see how they exist as a whole, then we'll be caught up in this. See how this music is mixed in with this whole discover a new galaxy and go fuck it up. Like it's this whole system that's out there. Like it's based upon what we see our reality as today. Like so, the fighting grid set up by video games and movies of the 80s and 90s makes us believe that every other planet or every other universe that is out there is the same as us. So we see based upon our eyes here, and our eyes here have been given to us by these controllers. And we're getting our eyes back now. So I'll leave it there. And I just wanted to share like those threads and kind of that implosion and explosion perspective of confusion and distraction that we get caught up in our waking state, and that affects our dreams. So I'll leave it there, and thank you for joining me. Until next time, peace, love, and harmony.